Well, I just got back from the doctor's, and unfortunately, I have some bad news. You see, a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, I made a video on how I was gonna get myself back into running shape with consistency. But I had a problem. Back in the summer, I unfortunately had a running injury which led me to not run for 3 months, but consistently led me back to where I was. Well, unfortunately, I'm back to where I was again, and now I'm injured because I went too far, too quick, too fast. I have a solution to this problem. Now, this video doesn't necessarily pertain to cybersecurity specifically, anything technical, but the mindset is important. I'm driving, so I'm gonna just put this thing down. You see, I don't like the gym, like I hate the gym, but I don't want to lose my cardio, so that's why I have this in here. Look guys, I'm using a Kleenex box as a reusable for my front tire. I'm saving the earth. Or I'm just a broke college student who can't afford, one of those little tire mounts things. You see, this lesson relates very little to cybersecurity, but there's actually a greater meaning behind this. Look at me, guys. I'm riding my bicycle. Today, I want to talk about the value of persistence and how it is used in the cybersecurity industry. And to do this and relate this to the topic, I am sadly using another running injury as a relatable topic to persistence and how you can use it in cybersecurity. By the way, I'm really not trying to show off or show how determined I am or whatever. Have you seen my setup? It's really more about the topic of persistence. Let's get on to persistence. The ability to stay persistent, even when something is hard and you keep failing and you can't solve the problem, is important, but it's really hard to do. Persistence takes a lot of grit and discipline, and when something never seems to be right, you can't solve the problem, it's really difficult to continue to progress. So maybe it's a software bug that you are trying to fix and you keep getting that error. Or you don't know your next step in cybersecurity or where to start in your particular situation. Persistence is what keeps you going. The ability to do something, to keep going even when you don't want to, is really persistence. I'm really just defining persistence. Persistence can be short-term, like solving a software bug that you can't seem to fix. Or it could be long-term, like getting into cybersecurity, which could take you several years. However long the duration is, the ability to persist is what's going to keep you going. It can be tiring, and it can be seemingly too hard to do after you've tried many, many times. Like for example, when you can no longer run, because of a running injury, you get a bike. And when you fall off that bike, you do some push-ups. But when you can't do a push-up, you realize you shouldn't have ever gotten injured. Really, in all seriousness, when one method isn't working, when one strategy isn't working, persistence is the ability to try something new. I've come up with a few ideas to keep in mind, particularly in the cyber industry, when it comes to maintaining or creating or building or just doing persistence. Let's say you are trying to figure out a runtime programming error and you can't seem to figure out what's wrong. Keep trying something new, you keep editing maybe little tweaks of the code, implementing new changes, but nothing is working. The first idea to persistence, in my opinion, is to take a step back and realize your overall goal or mission. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Or what is the end goal or the end result or the problem you're trying to solve? What's the mission behind what you're trying to do? Sometimes we get focused on something that's little and that's wrong, and we fail to take a step back and we forget to take a step back and realize the end goal. What are we trying to accomplish? When we get to this moment, take a step back and think about your end result and goal and envision what you're trying to do. Recenter and realign with your goal and move forward from there. After you've taken a step back and you realign with your goal, it's time to take that next step, to try something new, a new method. Now, this idea, of course, doesn't always pertain to persistence. For example, if you're running and you just want to stop running, you have to just keep running. So it depends on the situation and how you're applying persistence. But this lesson can be applied to more of the cybersecurity industry or the work that you do. When something just doesn't seem to work, it's a technology that you're working on, it's a solution that you're trying to implement, sometimes it's easier to take a step back and to try something new. Look at it from a different perspective or a different viewpoint. Try to stop being so siloed down on what you are trying to do and take a step back, realign and recenter, and try that new method. Once you've given one method all you've got, I mean, you've tried everything, it's time to change your tactics maybe. Look back and see what you can try to edit or change. Change your method, but know when the right time to change is. It doesn't mean try one little thing for 5 minutes and then move on. Know when it's time to take a step back and try a new method. The most obvious idea to persistence, because it's the word itself basically, is the ability to progress. If you can't seem to solve the issue, know that a time will happen where some things start to click. And until that moment, all you have to do is stay consistent and keep progressing through your process. Sometimes it's literally a matter of time. It's that trial and error, and one time, one attempt will get you that successful result. And it's in that moment that things start to align that your problem, of course, is solved. So progression, sometimes it's just the progression itself is embedded within persistence. So progression is what gets you to the moment of success. The ability to persist, to continue to move forward, is always something to keep in mind. How are you going to start persisting through a situation, or how have you identified persistence? That's a really corny question, but you get the point. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It's a lesson that I continue to learn. And if you have, that's it. Just have a good day and continue to persist.